Good morning, everyone. My name is Herman Pretorius. I am the Deputy Head of Policy Research at the Institute of Race Relations, and I will be chairing this morning's meeting, this morning's discussion with renowned economist Dawie Roodt and my colleague, analyst and researcher for the Institute of Race Relations, Mr. Nick Babaya, will be having the discussion with Mr. Roodt. Throughout the talk, do not feel offended if I mute your mic. I think it's, from my experience over these lockdown weeks, it's just easiest if we make sure that only one or two people at a time could speak. And I think we all agree that that should primarily be Mr. Roodt and secondarily be his conversation partner, Mr. Babaya. That being said, the formalities being over and everyone being welcome, I give it over to Mr. Babaya to start this conversation with Dawie. Thank you very much. Nick, I do think your microphone is on mute.
Apologies for that. Can you hear me now? Cool. Thank you very much, Herman, and thank you very much, Mr. Roodt, for being here today to discuss with us. We'll jump right into the questions. Dawie, taking into account the circumstances and the uncertainty of the economy, what do you foresee as the effect on jobs and businesses? And to that end, do you think we should stop this lockdown?
Sure, there's a lot of questions. Good morning to everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's actually quite weird that this has become the normal that we can talk about on technology like this, and it's all of a sudden the fourth industrial revolution is on top of us. All right, there are two questions. The one is the effect on jobs, and the second one is that should we stop this lockdown or not? Let me just have a look at answer the first one on jobs. But of course, before you can answer the question on jobs, you have to just have a bit of an idea of what's likely to happen to the South African economy. And I can give you some details if you really want to, but I've had a look at my estimates for economic growth, and before the virus, and I think it's very important to understand this, is that the South African economy was in a recession already, and in fact I would call it a crisis, especially on the fiscal side, and we were already in a recession, and I'm afraid this virus is going to be blamed for everything from now on. Although the real reason why the economy has been going through a difficult time before the virus was because of mismanagement of all sort of things in the South African economy. So what I had a very weak economic growth in any event before the virus, and then of course there's no way to accurately predict what's going to happen to economic growth. But essentially what I've done, I looked at previous crises and I simply superimposed that on my existing economic model. And of course I keep on adjusting that every day, sometimes more than once a day. And at the moment I have economic contraction around about 6% for the year in total. Now, with a bit of luck, we can get out of the recession by the end of this year, the last quarter or so. The third quarter should be more or less flattish, if we're lucky, but the fourth quarter, with a bit of luck, and there are all technical reasons, we could report some positive economic growth. So talk about economic contraction around about 6%, that's what I expect. Many guys, I read the report this morning, somebody expecting 10% contraction or even more. Now, if the economy contracts by that, and based on previous experience, that means that we're probably going to lose in the region of about 1 million jobs. In fact, slightly over 1 million jobs. I've got 1.1 million jobs that are likely to be lost. So unemployment is then likely to go up to, say, 11 million people or so by the end of this year. Additionally, we are talking about, and I saw the Reserve Bank is mentioning 1,600 businesses that's going to close down. I don't understand how you get to that, because depending, of course, on your certain assumptions, but if you assume, say, 5 or 10 people working for a company, and you talk about 1 million people losing their jobs, then we are really talking about many thousands of businesses closing down, and not only 1,600 or so businesses. So we're talking about many thousands of businesses closing down. So your answer, more than 1 million jobs are likely to be lost, and many thousands of businesses are likely to be closed down. Then should we close the lockdown? Or should we stop with the lockdown? I think we have to open this debate and we have to talk about this. I think what we all must understand is that this thing that we call wealth or economic growth is the thing that correlates best with everything that is good for humans, for humankind. If you look at rich countries are countries with high life expectancy. Rich countries are countries with very good education levels. They've got good infrastructure, everything. So wealth or then economic growth correlates with everything that is good. Poverty, on the other hand, correlates with everything that is bad. And given the fact that the South African economy is in a recession now, and a very deep recession, we are going to see an increase, and a substantial increase in poverty. Now, let me give you one example. The average income of the average European is 3 times that of the average South African. The life expectancy in Europe on average is roughly about 20 years longer than in South Africa. And I like life expectancy as the single most important economic variable out there. High life expectancy is good. It always correlates with everything that's good in an economy. So if we can somehow reach the level of income of the Europeans, we can extend an average based on this simple example. We should be able to increase our life expectancy by around about 20 years. So people are saying that it's a choice between lives and the economy, and I disagree with that. I think a healthy economy is also an economy with healthy people. And it's the same thing when you talk about whether lives or the health of the economy, is actually the same thing. And what I believe we should consider, at least, and very seriously consider, is to change the approach. There are certain people that are obviously vulnerable, the elderly or people with underlying conditions. And my approach certainly will be to isolate them and to look after them and make sure that they are protected as much as possible. But we have to open this economy up. We have to get this economy growing as soon as we absolutely can. I think the first reaction by the president was probably the right reaction. That was best practice at that time, given the information we had at that time. But we've got more information. We understand what the mortality rates are much better anyway than in the past. And I do believe that we should try to open this economy as quickly as we possibly can, because it will lead, and it is going to lead to a huge increase in poverty. And poverty is nothing but a death sentence to many, many people. I'm not talking about people starving to death. But if you've got poverty, you don't have proper infrastructure, and ambulances can't get to A, B, and C and things like that. Poverty is a killer. In fact, poverty is the biggest killer on this planet.